Hey, what is up, YouTube? Kolst here, and we are back with, what are we on? The 5th, I think, review for Festival of Legends. This is Mage, and I'll just spoil it right now. This is maybe, like, I think we already had, what was the other one? Druid had really good cards, but this might be, like, the best set possibly any class has ever gotten. There are some cards that are just terrifyingly strong here, so let's just get right into them. So the first one we have here is Synthesize. 1 mana common mage spell. Add a random 1, 2, and 3 cost elemental to your hand. Yeah, as mentioned, better first day of school. Pretty much, yeah, there's some, I don't know exactly what's in the elemental pool, but like, for example, you can get like the 2 mana discover elemental, you can get the shaman. This is just random, so you can get other classes. You can get like the shaman, now 2 mana 2/3, which was buffed. So you can get that. There's a lot of good elementals. I think elementals are generally pretty good. And especially the cheap ones. A lot of the low rolls were the higher cost ones. Like the early cost ones are good. So 1 mana draw 3, sign me up basically. Yeah, that's completely insane. Let's move on. Oh yeah, this one too. Cosmic Keyboard. 2 mana 0/3. After you cast a spell, summon an elemental with stats equal to its cost. Lose 1 durability. I can't imagine this card doesn't get nerfed. This is just like so insane. Like, what on earth is this? Because even in Arena, like, okay, like these cards don't tend to be that good because they're usually not nearly so aggressively statted. But this is like, I mean, in Constructed, you're supposed to play this with big spells. And then this is like a 2 mana 24/24 or something. Like, what on earth, right? You just can't do it all at once. But even in Arena, like, you're going to have enough spells. You only really need 1, right? You play this with the Fireball, it's already worth it, right? Like, I mean, it's just, you get way too much. This thing should probably be like 5 mana, like, let's be honest. Like, this doesn't even make sense, right? This is just completely insane. It does hurt that you have to use you're going to want to use your coin before you, before you use this. But yeah, I mean, it's way too good. Like, I can't imagine this stays in this for long, just in this form for long. Like, that's just insane. I feel like even in Constructed, that's insane. But anyway, let's move on to Infinitize, the maxitude. 2 mana, discover a spell with the flavor text. When your music is instrumental, it doesn't matter if the words make no sense. Yes, Infinitize, exactly. 2 mana, discover a spell, finale. Return this to your hand at the end of turn. I actually do like this card. It's kind of funny because it literally forces you to discover last. But, you know, part of the skill of using this card, which is going to be the thing, you're going to need to know when to give this up, right? Sometimes you're going to want to discover a spell and actually play it immediately. You're not just going to want to hold this for infinite value. You're just going to want to get that 1 reactive card, you know, that you can actually play. So in that way, it's pretty cool, but it's pretty darn terrifying that you can actually get just straight up infinite value in Mage. But, I mean, I guess they already had that anyway, so it's not that unique. You're going to want to, like, try to use this earlier on when you can afford to, just to make sure your hand size is big enough that you can actually continue to trigger the finale to just keep getting infinite value, right? I mean, overall, like, yeah, it's overpriced for each discover, but you'll be able to afford this. You know, you keep getting more spells that give you things. I guess you can't flame strike anymore, but yeah, in essence, it's like a Sister's Fall now, where you don't even have to detempo by playing a 6 mana 6/6. So yeah, it's pretty darn insane. And because this is I don't know, they did mention that there were cards you couldn't discover, but I don't know if this was a card that's actually not discoverable. I wonder if it is. If you can spell discover this, I mean, this is going to be a menace for Arena. So yeah, very, 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 very strong. Next up, we have Rewind. Okay, imagine getting double infinite value. I guess that doesn't really work, but 2 mana arcane spell. Discover a copy of another spell you've cast to this game. So you usually don't have that many different spells in Arena, right? So, I mean, you'll have pretty reliably be able to get whatever you want off of this. Or at least you'll get something good, right? It's 3 cards that you actually either drafted or are able to discover, so you can get a second coin. That is indeed true, yes. Again, it's like, it's overpriced in a sense, but, you know, just getting that extra, it's probably worth it for what you'll be able to get off of this. Getting an extra Arcane Defenders, getting extra whatever, I guess, right? A little bit greedy. It's worth saying, like, it's a little bit greedy. There are probably just better ways to get value. So you might not necessarily want to take this all the time, but, you know, in some decks, at least, it's going to be a very, very good card. Moving on, we have Audio Splitter. This is a 3 mana 4/3 mech with Death Rattle. Copy the highest cost spell in your hand. It's a 3 mana 4/3, and you're copying a spell. You might not always have a spell in your hand. That would be a little bit of a risk. right? But again, you could just get, I mean, there's all these things where you just keep copying spells and stuff. This is a lot cheaper than this. You're probably going to want to because if you're playing this, you're probably going to want to copy the biggest spell you have anyway, and then this doesn't even require you to have played it yet. So this seems like honestly a much better version of this, frankly. I guess depends on when you actually draw it. If you don't draw this early on, then it's potentially doesn't do anything. Yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, even if it just copies a coin, at least it's a 2 mana 4/3 then, like it's actually kind of fine. But yeah, getting a whole bunch of extra value on some of these potentially big spells, or getting a copy of Frozen Touch or something, yeah, there's some definitely some potential there. So yeah, just seems like a very solid card. There's Max Synergy as well from Sunken City, which is not rotating out, so some of that's going to be really good too. So yeah, just a very good card. You're going to pick it like always, almost, not always, but pretty often. Next up we have Holo Technician. I'm just going to say straight up, like I think this might be my least favorite card they've ever made in this game period. Why is this a thing? It's not too early to unprint this Blizzard. Can we just all agree? Like, we'll just forgive them if they just delete the card now. But anyway, this is a 3 mana 4/3, 3 mana 3/4. After any minion takes exactly 1 damage, destroy it. So I don't believe like Arcane Explosion's not in, right? But there's still Shooting Star, right? I don't think Shooting Star is leaving, right? I don't think so. Yeah, you still have like Shooting Star. They're losing Kona Cold. But this is one of those things where, yeah, I mean, you can combo this with Shooting Star. You can just use your hero power. But the thing is I mean, it's worth, the reason I don't like it, like, I mean, it has to be this way because otherwise it would just be batshit broken. But this is after any minion. It also hurts you. If it doesn't die, you can just keep pinging as Assassinate. But also your opponent could also just use this against you if they have a Whirlwind. I do think I heard that Bunker Sergeant's leaving. Wild Pyromancer, is Wild Pyromancer staying in? Yeah, it looks like Wild Pyromancer's staying in. So anyone could just have like a Wild Pyromancer, or they could have like a random Whirlwind or whatever. So you could always just get like board cleared yourself as well, and that's just kind of silly. Probably going to be a pretty strong card because as the Mage, again, you know, the threat of turning your hero power into an Assassinate and then having, yeah, any way to ping. On average, you're going to be able to use it much better than your opponent will. It's a little weird because you can't really curve it either because your opponent could always just ping it. It's just, I don't know, it's a very weird card. I just don't like it. Yeah, Reckless is leaving. I think Ram Commander's leaving too. But we don't know if those are leaving Arena exactly. They might still be in. But yeah, I don't know. Let's just delete this card. It's an epic, so you just won't see it that much. Moving on, we have Light Show. 3 mana arcane spell. Shoot 2 beams at enemies that shoot 2 damage. Shoot 1 more for each Light Show you've cast this game. This isn't clear. Can that hit the same enemy twice? That's not even clear. It doesn't say. Thing is, I don't think that's quite good enough. Like, it hits enemies so it goes phase. Like, you're not really gonna, it just doesn't do enough for you to really want it. Like, obviously you want to be able to copy this a whole bunch. I mean, in theory, there's definitely some potential that you could copy this a whole bunch of times and then start obliterating your opponent with these, but it's a little bit of a meme, I think, as far as Arena is concerned. You want to copy this and then do it, but like, it's a little bit sketchy. I think you have better things to do to try to win. Like, it's just a little bit of a meme. It's not like unpickable, right? Like, you grab one, it's just not terrible, but either way, it's not great. You're not going to want to take it too much. Here's a combo card you can do it with, though. Next up is Keyboard Soloist. 4 mana 2/4 Naga Battlecry. If you control no other minions, summon 2 1/2 amps with spell damage +1. I mean, this is pretty nice. You know, it requires you to not have a board, but you can just play this on turn 4 if you don't have a board. As a mage, you know, maybe you just play the Secret on turn 3. You don't have a board, then you just play this. Pretty solid, and yeah, those spell damages are terrifying, but if you're just getting, you know, you just play this on curve, it's a 2/4 and 2 1/2s. That's a pretty darn good 4-drop. Right? Even without any synergy at all. And you have the added benefit that you're getting spell damage +2. So a big idea with this would be to use it with Frozen Touches or Arcane Bolts or whatever else you happen to have, and you just kill your opponent from a high life total. I mean, you could even use this with like Light Shows as well. It would actually pretty significantly activate this card too. This thing's just really strong. This is definitely one of the strongest soloist cards, especially because it's in Mage, which has the easiest time just not having a board. A lot of the time. Yeah, you could even Deathborn on turn 10 with this. That's pretty insane too. Yeah, there's a lot of, this is a very, very good card. This is a common, so it's going to be everywhere too. Jeez. you know, you're gonna have to just expect this to be a thing, and on certain turns there's gonna be things you activate, you do a shooting star, whatever. Yeah, it's just insanely good. You wonder if they're mechs? They are, yes. Next up, Volume Up. 4-mana arcane spell. Draw 3 spells. Finale. Discover a copy of one. They needed more ways to be able to copy spells. Yeah, I mean, you usually have enough spells to draw 3, right? And then you just play this, and then you get all of your spells. So then anything you really like drawing spells. Drawing spells is usually significantly better than just drawing a card. You really like having spells, and then this is 4 mana draw 4 effectively, but it's also a copy, so you're copying the best one. So you get, again, like Flame Strike's leaving, so I can't use that as an example, but yeah, you just get like 2 Arcane Defenders, you get 2 Frozen Touches, you get, it's just, oh god, pretty insane. It's a little greedy to spend 4 mana not doing anything, but you know, you're getting all these spells, and the spells, you can imagine this being like, honestly, just a much better, a lot of times it's just going to be a much better Sunwell, because you're getting like pretty much the same amount of value, and you know what you're getting, and yeah, it's just, this seems very insanely powerful. Very good. Maybe too good. It's an epic, you won't see it that much though. Last up, we have DJ Manastorm. 10 mana 8/8 Battle Cry. Set the cost of spells in your hand to 0 after you cast one. The others cost 1 more. The turn you play it, I guess it's like at best a 0 mana 8/8, but probably a bit more expensive, because you're usually not gonna have a 10 mana spell exactly. But you're still getting a cheap overstat body. But then after that, you're potentially getting significantly more mana cheat turn after turn. It's a worse Caligos. Kind of, yeah. You don't actually get the Discover with it. You would just much rather have a Caligos. I think most of the time, like, I mean, this is very late game oriented. Like, it doesn't do anything until turn 10, and then it just doesn't really do that much immediately, and then it can do a lot, but it's just very slow. Even though it's not a very slow card, it's very late game oriented. A lot of times games are decided by then, so I feel like you're just not going to care too much about this. Potentially does get a lot of value over time. It's a Battle Cry. Unlike Caligos, it does survive past its death indeed, but you would want something that's a little bit earlier impact than this. But it has some potential, just it doesn't seem that relevant most of the time. With that, that is it for Mage. One of the most terrifying sets we've ever seen. What do you guys think in the comment section below? Let me know. But yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all those things. Bye bye.